love to you and your loved ones, and to all of humanity. My friend was telling me that it seems like I'm talking down to people, but I'm doing this because I want to show him, FYI. So I already made a video, but it was 9.5 minutes long, so I'm just gonna make a really quick version of what I just said. So, meditation, success, and warfare. Um, we would think that those don't connect, but I've noticed so much of life is counterintuitive, you know. So, meditation. Meditation is sitting here in posture and trying to be mindful, be in the present moment, don't judge, be fully engaged in just sitting. Mindfulness is doing that while you're not sitting and doing this normal posture, when you're just doing chores or walking around or whatever, living your normal everyday life, which is really the goal of doing this, sitting like this. If you're doing this meditation posture, but then when you walk around in everyday life, you aren't starting to integrate that more and more into your everyday life, then you're missing the point of meditation. Okay, and then next I'll do warfare. I was watching a Jocko Willink podcast today, and he was talking about how one of the big things that you need to do as a commander in war is to detach, which would be like a Buddhist Buddhist idea of getting out of that ego identity, that self, that me, that me, mine, my. Because, and he was saying it's because you want to detach so that you're not focused on the fear, and you are not worried about your troops, your comrades dying too much. You know what I mean? Of course, you have to worry about that, but he's just saying you can take it too far. And he said finding balance, which is very Buddhist to a middle path. But, anyways, he was just saying detach so that you can be the observer, like they would say in Neo Advaita or Advaita Vedanta in general, non dual Hinduism. So, being the observer, you can make objective decisions. And so that's the point here. When you're in that ego self, you're being subjective. Your name, me, my, I was hurt, or I am afraid, or, why did you do that to me, right? And then that definitely crosses over to sports, which, could easily be considered a type of competition or warfare. Um, the best MMA fighters are very cerebral. They're not emotional. People think that fighters are angry or, just meatheads with no brains. It's just the opposite. The best fighters are tactical, they're strategic, they are trying to misdirect you so that you make a mistake, and then they take advantage of that mistake. And that takes brains, that takes seeing ahead, trapping the person, tricking the person into doing something and then taking advantage of it. That's very advanced. And once again, you have to not be subjective. And people think that when before boxing matches or MMA fights, there's this whole like press conference media stuff where everyone's hyping up the fight, which is true too. I mean, it makes for more money and it makes it more fun too. But there's also a very real psychological war going on. So think of Muhammad Ali or Conor McGregor. They are trying to get in the head. What does that mean? Of the opponent. That means they're trying to make them emotional. They're trying to make them angry or intimidated or whatever. Make them feel stupid, make them feel insecure. And, or angry. That's all going to be a great disadvantage to their opponent, and they'll much more likely to win. Once again, once as soon as you get involved in the ego self identity of why the heck would you say that, and I am hurt, I am angry. And then your frontal lobe is going to go down in the fight because you go into like survival reptilian mode, fight or flight, and then you can't make good decisions. It's called cortical inhibition, which with cortisol, the stress hormone, and or adrenaline, I'm sure, shuts this down. You're just going to fight or flight. You can't make the right moves and you lose. So success, we can talk about business or with being with yourself. If you are in fear, that's probably the biggest problem, right? With people in general, like the fear, you're not taking the right risks, you're not, you're being too careful, you don't think objectively, your ego self gets involved, whether it's fear or anger or, you know, well, if you try too hard, that's I guess a form of fear because you're panicking. So there you go. All right, 6.5 minutes. I dedicate this to all of humanity. May they be healthy.